Science works because of a process, in terms of huge successes and huge failures in science. And, that's what makes science work. You have ideas, you call them hypotheses, and you do experiments that develop it. And many times, because of the background that's there, you can pretty much be assured that you're going to find something interesting to come out of that. But there are hypotheses that are, just a little bit too far out, and that can be disappointing to spend a year or so on it. And then for my case, it relates to, for example, a project I worked on for my PhD. I spent a year on the project, learning how to investigate something called gap junction coupling in salivary glands under control of calcium signaling. And it just wasn't very satisfactory for the preparation we had. And so a year's worth of work that I thought would lead me to a thesis didn't turn out, and I had to start another thesis project. But that's science, and that's sometimes a slow process in terms of how it works. Back at the time I was doing a thesis, it was under the so-called old German process, where you started a lab. They said, okay, this is what I'm working on. Here's something I think you should work on, and work on it and tell me what you get. And so it might be years before you can actually show anything of significance. So PhDs back then took 10 years sometimes, and it just wasn't something that is like today, where the mandate is that you're out by 4 or 5 years, and that's because people come in with much better access to things. The ideas of the projects are better formulated. Some of these are part of grants that are aims and grants that people do, and so there's more of an efficient way of moving through the PhD that wasn't so much so when I started. So my day, I think, it was more interesting because you could explore a little bit, and time wasn't a factor so much. But it was fun. And that's part of why we do science, because you're in the lab having fun.